Hi everyone! So as you may be aware, this past weekend was the National Book Festival in Washington, D.C. on the National Mall on September 21st through 22nd, and it was glorious. The rain held off just long enough until about 3 o'clock when I left, and it was a great time. If you don't know, the National Book Festival is a festival put on by the Library of Congress and the President and his wife, so they say. They never actually show up. It's a bunch of authors who do signings, and sometimes they do readings, and sometimes they just talk about really important things. Last year, John Green read from The Fault in Our Stars and talked about Nerdfighteria and talked about life and things and took questions, and authors tend to do similar things. This year, I once again met up with Katie from Chapter Stacks, and it was a brilliant adventure of us getting there and getting through the crowd and tackling first aid people, not physically tackling first aid people, but tackling crowds and first aid people and where to buy candied almonds, which I always get every year. They're cinnamon roasted almonds and they are phenomenal. I would not have it any other way to have the book festival without almonds. Anyway, we met at about 10:30 because there were some really fantastic people on the lineup for Saturday, which was the only day out of the two that both of us could go. And we met at 10:30 and sort of tried to listen to Margaret Atwood, author of The Handmaid's Tale and many other books. But she was rather old and short and sat down in a chair, and we were down at the very end of the tent behind a sea of people and couldn't really see or hear her that well. She did make a mention of pesticides, which is the only thing that the two of us really remember about her speech. But yeah, we tried, Margaret. We tried to listen to you. I love The Handmaid's Tale, but it just, it was 10:30, and there were lots of people, and we just couldn't focus at that point. Other people of note that were there, we didn't see anyone else speak, but Holly Black, author of the Spiderwick Chronicles, was there. Veronica Roth, author of Divergent, was also there. We decided to not stand in line for that because neither of us was really gung-ho about having her sign anything or meeting her, and the line was just switchbacking all the way into the trees on the left-hand side of the mall. We walked around for a little bit around the line because there were a couple people that said they were going to try and meet up with us, and we never found them. So hello, if you were one of those folks. I'm sad we didn't get to see you. But other than that, we steered way clear of Veronica Roth because we knew it was just going to be a madhouse. Other folks were Christina Applegate, who I believe is the author of the Animorphs series. She was there, if you've ever read any of those. Patrick Ness, author of The Knife of Never Letting Go, I believe, which Bex has read and reviewed. We didn't really get up close to him at all or see him. I think Katie has a picture. What we did do was go to the PBS tent and get free tattoos, and we met Arthur. I'll put a picture of Arthur and myself in at the end, along with a couple other pictures that Katie took from the day, because every time I try and bring my camera to the National Book Festival, either I forget to take it out, or I don't use it, or it runs out of space on the card, which I tried to prevent this year to no avail. But there will be some great pictures that Katie took. And last but not least, the one person we stood in line forever for was Kevin Henkes, and this was a personal request of mine. Thanks to Katie for sitting in that line for an hour or so with me. Kevin Henkes is the author of Lily's Purple Plastic Purse, Chrysanthemum, Owen. There are just a lot of children's picture books about mice. Of course, Les stands in line for an hour for the man with the picture books. It's fine. But there are a bunch of books about mice, and I always read them. They were always in my mom's classroom, and Lily's Purple Plastic Purse is a particularly inspiring book for me. And his latest book is entitled Kitten's First Full Moon, which is an adorable story, and yes, I did buy the hardcover copy of this. It won the Caldecott Medal. Let's all notice that, so it's got to be great. It says "What a Night" on the back, and I'm thinking of just taking this out with me whenever I wander around in Washington, D.C., and like just taking pictures with this next to my face if it's a really cool night. So I stood in line for him, and I met him, and we had a really beautiful, touching moment where I told him how much his books inspired me, and he said thank you, and like couldn't believe that I was sort of trying to outpour my soul and admiration to him in about 5 to 10 seconds. But it was fine. Everything was great. He signed this book for me. That was his signature, right in the moon, right in the full moon, and it was super adorable. And I love it, and everybody sort of oohed and awed as I was standing there. It was a beautiful moment. God, this book is just beautiful. It's all in black and white. There are all of these pictures of cats. Oh, You have to be a children's literature and perhaps even a picture book aficionado or a fan to really appreciate this right here, which it's okay if none of you are, that's fine. So this is the program. It looks exactly the same as the poster, which Kitty and I were talking about. We really like the artwork a lot more this year than we do last year. It was a lot more bubbly and sort of rounded, and this year it was a little sharper. I'm not going to try and use art terms because I don't know a lot of them, but I really like it a lot. There are a lot of books incorporated in here. I know I'm not really holding this at an angle, which you can see it really well, but there it is. It's really cute. There's actually a book on here somewhere. Here it is. It's being held by these things in trees where it opens to about 7 or 6 different pages in the middle. It's really hard to see, I'm sorry. But that actual book was for sale in the book tent. It was great. So clearly the person that either wrote the book and did the cover art for the program, the poster, planned well or knew it was happening or wrote the book and just did some shameless promotion. Also, once again, you always get a great bag. This year's color is orange, and it is, of course, sponsored by C-SPAN Book TV, which was excellent to see that they were there like always. So yeah, the book festival was great. I will be there next year, I believe. So if you are looking to go, please do go because it's a great time if you're in the Washington, D.C. metro area. If you're not going, I'm sorry, but you can live it vicariously through Catherine and myself. Hopefully next year, fingers crossed, Becca will be going with me to the National Book Festival. But stay tuned, those are some long-term details we're still working out. Hope you're having lovely weeks and lovely lives, and I will see you very soon.